Okay. Then Swathi, it is going to be over to you for the walkthrough for our session today.
Hello everyone. Sorry for the delay. So let's go into the application. This project basically is ABD project. We call it as aged, blind, and disabled. I'm sure you must have already finished your minimum training level on the Medicaid eligibility. So I'm not much going into the basic idea on what eligibility is, what Medicaid is, and all of the stuff. Before I get started with the ABD project, I would like to give you some more information on the other project, that is ModMed project. It's basically a MAGI project which is already in production. Basically, the MAGI project, which is the Modified Gross Adjustment Income, that project is for the people who are kind of pregnant women, children, and parents and caretakers. So that particular system is already in production, and we are combining the ABD project with the MAGI project. Since, as I said, like MAGI is already in production, we are just taking this ABD project and putting in the MAGI system that's already there. So this ABD project is, as I said, for aged, blind, and disabled people. Whenever a person comes to any regional office saying that, hey, I'm applying for the Medicaid, this is all the information that I have with me. So just enter all this information and let me know if I'm eligible for a Medicaid or not. So when a case worker receives all the information from a client, I would say, because when a person is coming for applying Medicaid, we usually call him as applicant, but when he gets the information with him, he would get all the family information, because whenever we determine any eligibility for a person or for an applicant, we do consider all this information along with his household information. I mean, like, say, if I'm going to a case worker to apply for a Medicaid, I will take my complete household information with me, which means like my husband, my children, my parents, all that information. So any person who wants the Medicaid is called as applicant. Any person who is not applying for the Medicaid but linked with this applicant is called a non-applicant. So this project basically determines the eligibility for the client or applicant who comes in. So this is the application that we usually use. This is the PID and password that we have, and the namespace that we have is Xerox, because DOM is our client and they will be using the system once the system is in production. So as and when we log into the system, we have a homepage thing which shows us all the cases that we are currently working on. We also have a search panel on the left side to just search for a client who is already in the system or not. Say if I go to a case worker and say that, hey, I'm applying for a Medicaid. How would I know if I'm already applying for any other Medicaid facility or something? So this search basically will give us the results or records that are already in the system. Say suppose my SSN is something. The caseworker would just enter with the SSN that the applicant will provide to him, and then just click on search. I'm not in the system. So to just explain you about the search results, you can see here like ModMed search and all system search. So all system search basically includes all different areas like the MMIS system, the legacy system, and the Magi system. So when we were working on the Magi project, we had a conversion of taking all the records from legacy system to modern system. So now that Magi system has all the MMIS clients, legacy clients, and the modern clients, all system search generally helps us in searching for an applicant or a client who is already in the system. Whereas this modern search will help us in searching only with the modern system. That's just the Magi and ABD system. It has nothing to do with the legacy system or the MMIS system. You would like to know if the person is there in the system or not, and if you would like to continue from there on creating a new applicant, you would always go for all system search. So when the case filters know that the person who has come to him is not in the system, he would just create him as a new client. So whenever we click on create new client button, this is the page that we get to enter all the information about that applicant. So if he is an applicant, we just click here as applicant and then enter all the information like the first name, last name, date of birth, etc. and so on. So I will be just showing you how to create an applicant, and thereon we can start entering all the details and move forward. Let me just enter my name. Normally for ABD projects, since I said like it's for age, blind and disabled, we usually use the date of birth which are way older, like something in 97 or 90s, and like 40s or 60s, something like that.
So Swati, to clarify here, this system that you're showing us is something that is used from the from the caseworker's point of view. So this is something that if someone came to me and I worked for the government and someone was needing to apply for Medicaid based on the ABD criteria, I would log in here, make sure that there is not already they're not already created in the system, confirm that information, and if they're not in there, add them as a person within the system, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Let's enter the basic information and add the class. Okay, the applicant is added to the system. So now when we try to add a household information, we use the same way. Just click on add this member button and then enter all the information. But one thing I would like to say is that when we try to know like if the applicant is already in the system or not, we use the search criteria. But how would we know that if the household member who is an applicant or a non-applicant, if he is in the system or not? So to know that information, we would enter all the information here, and then we will have the search record. If the person who is entered is already in the system, we will get that person information in the next page. page, we will see, like, if we have the person whose information that we have entered earlier is already in the system, they would get all the information here. Now that we don't have the person here in the system, we don't see any records or any matches here. So we can just go ahead and create a new client. This is the time period page wherein we'll be saying several time periods for the applicant or the non-applicant. Since the person we just created is in pending case status, this is the case status where we can see. Since he or she is in the pending time state, so we see him in the pending time period tab. If the person is if the person already has any process time span, we can see them those spans here. And if the applicant or non-applicant has any time periods that the person is not applied for any time period, that particular time period can be seen here. So this area basically starts with entering all the necessary information, which is with demographic details, address, financial information, any resources information, all that stuff. So now I'm just going to enter all the demographic information. Now that I have already entered the date of birth of the applicant already, I'm just going to verify the date of birth. Now I'm just verifying it manually, but in production we do have different systems that we can gather the data, and these fields will be auto-verified. So this demographic information is basically having the first name, last name, date of birth, SSN, gender, ethnicity, the primary language of the applicant, marital status, if the applicant is really applying or not, if he is applying, what he is applying for. Is he applying for only ABD or only for MAGA or both? Then if the applicant is already having any other benefits apart from applying for Medicaid, enter information and click on save.
I have one question. So now you are entering all information about the applicant, is that correct? Or
yeah, because I have created both of them as applicants, I did not create anyone as non-applicant. So yeah.
but if the name is the Aisha, but yeah, that it doesn't matter now. But you taken as a non-applicant. So that's why I'm asking. You are entering a non-applicant details.
Okay. Both applicants, if you can see here on the contact type field, they both have the application contact type, which means that these both are applying for Medicaid. Say suppose if you want one person to be a non-applicant, I would just say here no. Let's say type for non-applicant will be blank.
Okay. Now I got it.
Okay. And enter the demographic information for the head of household, the HOH. So in the household, whomever we enter first will be determined as the head of household. Yeah, we have entered the demographic information and then the address. So this validate button will usually get the record from USPS office to verify if the address that we have entered is correct or not. So we can just validate here by clicking on the validate button. The address that we're seeing here is we got this information from the USPS address. If the client has any authorized representative information, you can just enter here. Anything.
And Swathi, the authorized representative is the person who would be completing this form?
Sorry, Molly, what is that?
Is the authorized representative the person who is filling this out? Is it the name of the person who is inserting the information, or who is the authorized representative related to the applicant?
No, yeah. It will not be related to the applicant.
So it's just the person who was entering in the information about the applicant?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So the next would be relationship stuff, wherein we'll be entering the relationship between the household members. Now that we have only 2 members in the household, you just see here with only one section. You can just enter the relationship between the household members here. Starting as an parent of IFE, and it's verified. So any tax filing information can be entered here. If Swati is the head of household, just click on the head of household and valid value, and any dependents or anything, any tax related information can be selected here. Now coming to the main portion, entering all non-financial, financial, all the eligibility data. So the first will be the non-financial information, where it will be verifying the citizenship and the alien status of the client. We have like the documented alien, undocumented alien, and the US citizenship valid values for this citizenship. Notification, I verified or not verified. So as this pregnancy is basically from the magic portion. As I said, we are combining both the systems. We are just adding the ABD code into the magic code. We already have magic related fields here. So the disability, Medicare, all this stuff is because it's an ABD project. So if the client is a disabled person, that information is entered here, say disabled, blind, or both, and then the verification. Then you have the onset date. If the person is already having a Medicaid, that information is entered here. If the person is entitled to Part A or Part B or both, that information is entered here. So now that we have only a parent and kid in the household, we should have the information about the other parent also, right? That's missing. So the missing parent information should be entered here by selecting any of the. So whenever I click on save, I will be redirected to non-custodial parent information tab, wherein I'll be entering the non-custodial parent information here. You can just enter all the entity information and click on save. Next comes the financial information, wherein we'll be entering all the information related to financial sources of the applicant. Let me start with the parent financial information. If the parent is already having some earned or unearned income or a reduction in income, we will be entering all that information here. For aged people, the unearned income type is usually RSTI, so I'm just selecting that here. With just frequency that the person receives the amount, it's monthly that I'm entering here, and then the verification. As I said, like I'm verifying all the fields manually here, but in reality, we usually get the information from different outsources. So TBL information is basically the third-party information wherein if we have any TBL information, we will enter all that information here. Now that I'm not entering any information. So the next field is the resources one. We do have different resource types here. Say if the client already has some insurance or some liquid resource, or if he has a home or any real property, if he has a vehicle, all that information will be entered here. So I'm just entering the cash resource type, say from 1500. This is on a very high level that I'm telling you. Transfer resources basically says that if the client has already transferred any resources to anyone. So these are the resource types that we have, which we have already seen in the resource tab. And again, the date the resources were transferred is supposed to May 3rd or something like that. The relationship between transfer person and the transferee. What is the amount that the resources are transferred to the person, and the verification. If the client has already received any amount back, or he didn't receive any amount. So I'm just leaving it as it is, 0. I'm just finding it.
And Swathi, the transferred resources, what this is meaning is that if somebody basically used to own, for example, used to own a home, but now has transferred it, and their child now owns that home instead. So it's indicating the history that they used to own this type of property or vehicle or whatever resource type it is.
I could barely hear you, Molly. I'm so sorry. Your voice is so low.
So the resource, the transferred resources, this indicates property that this individual used to have. So for example, if I owned a car, but I transferred it to my daughter, and now she owns that car, it's showing that I basically used to have that. That's what transferred resources means. Are you having trouble?
I could hear you only to some extent. I'm so sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Let's see. Is this better? Okay. Okay, so basically showing what they used to own. Okay. All right, that was my question. Okay, got it. Okay.
And this basically requires on the calculation of the penalty. If the applicant has transferred any resources to someone else, and if there is a penalty that's applying for the transfer, so it's here that we calculate. This page is going to change. We have some different calculations coming on for this stuff. So I'm not concentrating much on transfer resources as of now. We have new CRs coming in. Given has asked for many changes for the transfer resources, so we are working on that. And the ineligible dependents basically says about any dependent the applicant or the client has. So it's just entering the ineligible dependent information here, and the dependent monthly income that the applicant can on him takes for some 200 monthly. This institution tab basically says about if the person is in a nursing home or in a swing bed. So institutional information is usually entered here, and the provider information is entered here. I'm not entering any information here now. So this Medicaid income budget usually says about the health insurance premium or any medical expenses that the applicant has, and the verification drop-down has all these values to be selected like anyone as well. Okay, so now that we have entered the required information for both of them, I'm just going to start processing the eligibility for the applicant. So whomever is a non-applicant, the eligibility is not processed for them. The eligibility is processed only for the applicant. This person is eligible for the 45 COE. So all the COEs, all the stuff you can know when you go through the role training. This particular training is only on the application walkthrough, so I'm not much concentrating on the COEs. Like why did we get only 45 COEs? Why did we get any other COEs or that stuff? This decision detail page usually will show about the basic information on the eligibility, like what COE is the client approved for, what's his income that's counted, what's the resources that are counted, all that stuff. So again, this page you can know in depth when you go through the rules training, because rules has more to do with this page rather than the UL part. So this is how we usually determine the eligibility by entering the information. It starts from the demographic information to address to relationship to the financial information to the non-financial information to the resources, all that stuff. So now that the person is approved for any for 45 COE here, like we have 45. So now that a person is approved for any COE, we can just the caseworker would just submit that application to the supervisor, and that's done by clicking on submit for review. So when the caseworker clicks on submit for review button, the case will go to the supervisor for approving the decision, because the caseworker doesn't have any right to approve the decisions that the applicants usually get. Now this particular application is sent to supervisor, and when the supervisor will log into the system from his credentials, he would just see the application, go through all the information that the caseworker has entered, and if the supervisor sees that whatever the information that's entered is correct, then he will just go and approve or just process this case. I'm not doing that as of now. But whenever the supervisor approves the decision, a notice is created to the applicant, and that notice will be sent to the applicant saying that, hey, you have applied for this Medicaid, we have entered all the information and processed the eligibility, and you are applied for this Medicaid, and you have approved for this Medicaid, and this is the time period that you'll get the Medicaid facilities. So this is the basic information on the application. Maybe like tomorrow we can start on other topics. Say tomorrow we can discuss about the letters, notices, and other stuff. So any questions anywhere?
Does anybody have any questions for Swathi about what we've gone over today? Does anybody have any questions about what we've gone over today? Okay. Any other questions for Swathi? So Swathi, a tester on this project would then interface with this application on a daily basis, correct? Okay, so it's important from a tester's perspective to understand how the system works, how applicants are processed through the system, so that when it comes time for specific testing cases and those types of things, to know when something is abnormal. Okay. All right, any other questions for Swathi today? Okay. So if anybody does have any questions and thinks of it after we complete this call today, write those down, shoot me an email with that information, and we'll make sure to address it at the beginning of tomorrow's session. Reminder again, we do have sessions just like this tomorrow as well as Wednesday. So we've got 2 more sessions with Swathi to complete the walkthrough and the UA. So Swathi, thank you, of course, for your time and sharing your expertise with us. Certainly appreciate that. Will you be able to have access to and use the same kind of method for tomorrow's session? Okay, great. Then we'll plan to move forward with that so everybody can join the session as normal, and we'll plan to get started tomorrow at 12:30 Central once again. Thank everybody so much. Thank you. Bye.